Niggas, that's that same tag. Yeah, my boy in that bitch putting her to work. Ain't no way.
I was supposed to be back in a month. She stayed with me for 3 months. I had 3 surgeries. Each month I had a surgery. And then I had a bone infection, so I got a PICC line in my arm, which y'all don't know about. That junk is about this long.
Like, he never tried to be like, oh, just because I drink, you can't drink, or...
When people speculating about your relationship is one thing. But when those rumors start to become receipts and all of them point to the same thing, that's when things start to become ugly. Fans currently believe that Travis, Hunter, and his wife Liana are concealing a dead bedroom scenario, and that it could be the true cause. Rumors of cheating have been circulating. Nor is this something that just happened. There is no spark between her and the wedding videos and pregnancy rumors. The internet is piling these instances like a case file, even her own previous statements that he wasn't her type. People now believe that she withdrew from the reception, was essentially her way of indicating that he simply isn't capable of handling the bedroom. And the crazy part is that everything begins to line up the deeper you go. What really started everything off was the wedding celebration. Everyone was applauding. They were being filmed. Travis then leaned in to give his new bride a kiss. However, she looked around. Hurry, delicate, yet not so delicate that it went unnoticed. Online, that little moment went viral. Some admirers suggested that perhaps she simply wished to avoid damaging her lipstick. Others were certain that it was a silent rejection, the kind that occurs when genuine chemistry is present. Additionally, with all the people didn't believe it was a coincidence because there were already other rumors circulating. They interpreted it as a sign. Additionally, if you haven't seen the video yet, here is the very moment that everyone has been discussing. Roughly
talking about.
The rumors began to become more specific. Comments began to flow, such as she refused to receive the ring despite not kissing him. The man she is actually seeing is most likely present, and their romance appears to be more of a commercial transaction. The more times it was played again, the more individuals connected it to all of their past awkward interactions. Since, let's face it, you don't pull if you are desperate to be near your husband. You should be apart from him at the wedding reception. Fans view it that way anyway. And it wasn't simply the kiss for some. It concerned the possible meaning of that kiss or lack thereof about everything else. Thus, the kiss dodge moment began to circulate immediately after. The drama struck again. The reports of a pregnancy. Individuals swore and discovered that several of the pictures from around the wedding showed Liana looking pregnant. TikTok began moving slowly, circling her stomach, performing side-by-side clips. When people think they've spotted something, the internet is like that. Additionally, if you believe I'm exaggerating, simply take a look at this. The wedding clip was being slowed down by fans, was an advertisement for a film, persuaded on announcement of a pregnancy was imminent. Here's the problem. Liana and Travis both came out and put an end to that. They referred to it as unfounded, claimed that it was just people coming. Perhaps it was. However, the denial did not provide any clarification for certain fans. It just moved the conversation, because the subject of whether she was pregnant suddenly became more combustible. Was the father even Travis? Some even thought that perhaps someone else could have taken over if the spark in the bedroom had died. And every other rumor began to intensify after the pregnancy hypothesis was made public. And an old clip that fits is something that the internet never gets rid of. The story they have previously determined to be accurate. And that time arrived for Liana. In an interview in which she remarked nonchalantly that when they first met, Travis wasn't really her type. This is the precise moment she stated unequivocally that he wasn't her type.
I just didn't respond to him. He wasn't my type. So then I left him.
I wasn't her type.
I left him in my DMs for like 2 months, and then finally I answered him. But I didn't want to like be nothing.
It was remixed, cut, and reinserted into the mix by fans with comments such as this made her look even worse. Additionally, this girl is a huge S, and Travis is a horrible liar. Some even suggested that she might not have been interested in his entire energy and that it wasn't just about appearances, because this is the reasoning that people are using. Perhaps the spark never fully ignited if there was never that immediate physical tug. Additionally, she may appear aloof in public if the spark never ignited. Why sometimes see more favor publicity over romance and the reasons behind the persistent bedroom stories. And when this clip was going viral again, it didn't help. Another old video surfaced, the one that initially sparked the rumors of adultery. Liana was shown in an old video at a dancing closely with another man during a party. To be clear, this was not a recent post-wedding controversies. Despite being older, the timing of its reemergence gave the footage a fresh sense. The video I'm referring to, in case you missed it,
about.
She appears to be at ease as she leans in and smiles in the video. And that was all it took for many to declare it evidence on TikTok. Remarks included, "Ain't there's nothing more depressing than learning that the person you love is a 304. He needs to run," guy said. Holy shit. Do we now know if anything truly took place? However, when the prevailing story is that she is physically and emotionally checked out of her marriage, the optics impact differently. For those who are observing from the outside, this is when things begin to make even more sense. Travis is a complete housewife. He is passionate about football, training, and relaxing in the house. Well, not so much, Liana. She is gregarious. She enjoys going out. She likes going out at night. She has even acknowledged this herself, describing instances in which Travis would simply wait for her in the car while she was out.
The first thing that ever stood out to me about Travis was that he never tried to change me at all. So like I said, I met him in college. He was in high school, and I obviously I was in the middle of outgrowing partying, but I still partied a lot. And I don't know if y'all know this, but he doesn't drink at all. Like, even though he's legal to drink, he doesn't drink. And I'm Hispanic, so I have tequila in my veins. So I drink. I don't drink a lot, but I drink. And I used to party and stuff. And he would literally drive me, sit outside for hours while I'm in.
That isn't a crime. Then, that is the case for many couples. However, when one is out and the other is leading a calm, normal life, people pay attention when you move, attend events, and interact with various crowds. Supporters began claiming that this explains why she is frequently spotted without him. It's not necessarily a sign of a problem. Simply put, they are not in the same social circles. Yes, the Heisman ceremony is what I mean. Now is the time when it's often cited as the beginning of the frigid wife jargon. Up there, Travis was having his moment. Everyone in his immediate vicinity stood up and applauded. Liana remains seated as well. She literally needed encouragement. From Coach Prime to get to her feet, it was over in a second. However, that video became viral as soon as it was posted online. And simply take a look at this. The entire Chilly Wife story began with this little incident. Story people made snap. Judgments right away. She appeared bored, according to some. Others believed she was attempting to keep Travis's attention. In any case, the picture stuck. People began closely observing her body language whenever she appeared in public with him after that day. You watch the entire video, you'll see that she cheers and claps. However, nobody was interested in that. That single moment in time had already been captured on the internet, and it served as evidence. People had to admit that she wasn't interested in him. And once that label was placed on her, people were prepared to see the worst, regardless of what she accomplished. That's precisely why Travis stepped in an attempt to protect her. it took on a life of its own. He claimed that after all the vitriol, she sobbed herself to sleep and that he was equally as hurt as she was. At the ceremony, he made it plain that he didn't believe she was acting disrespectfully. She was simply caught up in an incident that, taken out of context, looked awful.
She killed, W girlfriend. She made sure I was able to use her car. She let me come over when I wanted to get away from my family. Stay the night with her. She had her own money. She bought me all the food that I wanted. She always made me. Yeah, she learned how to cook for me. She didn't even know how to.
He was obviously frustrated because, despite his best efforts, the internet wouldn't let up. He was admired by some for defending his spouse. Others, however, simply took his remarks and turned them into new hypotheses, such as the idea that he is trying to hide something or that he is supporting her so strongly if he has nothing to hide. A larger issue. It was one of those circumstances where raising your voice didn't truly assist. The trolls intensified. And even those who had never made a payment paid close attention to them before beginning to examine earlier footage to determine the reason for the commotion. Now, following weeks of being featured in every sports blog, headline and TikTok theory, Travis and Liana simply vanished. Their accounts both disappeared and Travis seldom appeared. Any place on the internet, he then went public to explain why he isn't on social media these days, which, if you've been paying attention to the rumors, exclusively made there is an increase in conversation.
For y'all information, I'm still not on social media, so whatever y'all say,
it don't matter. It don't matter.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
Never know. They're all. You cannot get in touch with Travis unless you take.
According to the official narrative, they simply wanted peace because the hatred had reached a breaking point. However, some fans believe involved. Rumor has it that Liana let it all out regarding Travis's inability to keep up in the bedroom to one of her pals. And for some reason, that small tidbit began to appear in comment sections. To be honest, if that's the case, you can't really blame him for wanting to disappear. Given that everyone on the internet is already on high alert for anything that might happen. No man wants strangers, or worse, teammates, to see those types of comments beneath his articles validate their hypotheses. However, the result of their ghosting was the exact reverse of what they likely intended. Rather than subsiding, the conjecture intensified. Individuals took the silence as evidence that there was a serious problem. And all of a sudden, every old clip, awkward look, and small rumors seemed to be a part of one larger story. At this stage, the drama wasn't limited to embarrassing videos or gossip. It began affecting Travis's bank account, which is where it hurts the most. Online rumors claim that he and Liana didn't bother signing a contract when they got married. Prenuptial agreement. The problem is that, as you are all likely aware from my earlier recordings, they were married in Tennessee. And if I'm being honest, Tennessee's alimony laws are a little complicated. If things don't work out, you can have to pay a lot depending on the situation and how long you've been married. Let's take a moment to stack things up. Admirers are already making assumptions that Liana lost interest in him. Rumor has it that she is connected to another man who might even be a Jaguars player. And she could now leave if they ever parted. Weighs a portion of his rookie salary. That's losing both your wife and your money, not simply your wife. To be honest, he has been referred to as the largest loser in this scenario by individuals on the internet, considering whether the allegations of infidelity are, whether it's true or not. He's still dealing with a PR disaster, a marriage that many believe is failing, and a financial situation that is essentially a ticking time bomb. However, the aspect that fans find unshakable is that many believe this all began in one location, in a private setting. Because everything else we've seen might just be the fallout if the bedroom was the first to go. And what happens next might make this narrative very popular.